Hello, everybody. I know, I haven't posted all week, but here we are. Also, ignore the webcam. The software had an update for my webcam for Logitech, and my webcam settings have all broken and borked, and I've tried fixing it, and it just... Anyway. So, yeah, if anyone here remembers, Electronic Arts being acquired and taken private in a deal worth $55 billion. Before we get into today's news, let's do a quick thing here. EA announced, this was back in September, it's being acquired and taken private in a $55 billion deal by an investor consortium that includes Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, Silver Lake, and Affinity Partners, which was founded and led by Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. Yeah. And the deal is expected to close in the first quarter of 2025. However, it first needs approval, of course, by regulators and EA stockholders. This is an all-cash transaction that will see... the investor consortium acquire 100% of EA, while PIF will roll over its current 9.9% stake in the company. Yeah, so if you remember that. Also, of that $55 billion, there was a report that $20 billion of that will be in what is called a junk loan that could potentially include really high interest rates that who knows if EA will ever be able to pay it off. Yeah. I remember this was from, back in October. Yeah. So, the deal includes an equity investment of $36 billion by investor consortium and $20 billion in debt. They'll be financed fully by JP Morgan Chase Bank, $18 billion of which is expected to be funded when the deal closes. Bloomberg, one of the most trusted sources, at the time expected to be rated in the single B range and will be sold through high-yield bonds and leveraged loans. This is according to multiple people who has not to be identified. As they were discussing this, the sources stated the final structure of the sale will depend on market conditions at the time of launch. Bloomberg's Jason Schreier calls this a junk loan, which is great. My colleagues in Bloomberg report that the $20 billion debt in the EA deal is expected to be in the single B range, meaning it's considered a junk loan or one that is high risk and speculative, typically offering high interest rates, which the new EA will have to pay, said Jason Schreier. Probably one of the most trusted journalists in the video game industry. There are some that are don't have the best track record, but Jason Schreier, he usually has multiple sources before he reports on anything. Even with that, he doesn't always report on stuff. And of course, after all this happened, we've also got news that Saudi Arabia's PIF, the Public Investment Fund, is actually after this, because of how much money it is running low on cash for new investments in the future. So other gaming companies might be safe for now. Because they have several projects that are in financial trouble, which this report included a ski resort, cruise line, a coffee chain, an electric vehicle startup that hasn't even delivered a car yet. So that's going well. And a couple of U.S. senators have voiced concerns over this acquisition, sending a letter to Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, as well as, I believe, a letter to asking questions and looking for answers from Electronic Arts CEO, Andrew Wilson. So, try to do that as quickly as I can. On today's news, it sounds like Saudi Arabia's public investment fund will be owning the vast majority of EA once this deal is done. So, yeah. More details of this acquisition has been released by the Wall Street Journal as of today. It reveals Saudi Arabia's PIF will own not just a majority, but just about all of EA. 93.4% of EA if the acquisition is approved by regulators and EA stockholders. Yeah, 93.4%. I thought they'd be more of a minor stakeholder owning less than 50%. The other one's owning more, but no. 93.4% of that money will be, invested into EA will be Saudi Arabia's PIF. Silver Lake will own 5.5%, and Affinity Partner will own the other 1.1%. This doesn't mean the vast majority of the deal will have to be covered by Saudi Arabia's PIF. The Wall Street Journal estimates it will have to pay around $29 billion in order to have a 93.4% ownership. $29 billion with a B. With a B. That would be the... I would say this is going to be the biggest video game thing ever, but actually, no. Microsoft acquiring Activision Blizzard for nearly $70 billion has this beat. Yeah. So, that's what's going on here. That's mainly what I want to come back at. Saudi Arabia basically will be the owners of Electronic Arts if this deal is approved by regulators and stockholders. It needs to be approved It'll probably get approved in the U.S. considering, Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, is one of the investors. And I don't think Donald Trump or the current administration will block it. Will it get past the UK? Will it get past the European Union and other regulators? We don't know if this would. Seems less surefire than the Activision Blizzard deal, but who knows where things will end up going in the future with markets and the economy and all that stuff. So, yeah, the report notes that this is unusual for the PIF to own such a majority when they are part of a consortium. Usually, the private equity firms will invest more as they are more experienced in these types of deals and in running businesses. The PIF tends to ride on the coattails as a minority investor. So, yeah, the PIF, Saudi Arabia, they do own very small stakes in a bunch of other video game publishers and developers. Usually a few percent. Less than 10%, generally speaking. And this is going to be a whole another ball game for them. So we'll see how things go. I'll admit, I'm no expert on this, but from what I've read, and if the things are true, this is not good for EA. I expect lots of layoffs. And there's actually a report recently that EA is having their developers use more and more artificial intelligence to do their work. I'm like, oh, great. So they're going to train the AI on these people's work, and they'll let these people go as they just use the AI, which the AI probably is going to have its own issues. And yeah, losing jobs. Not good at all. But I wanted to cover this. It seemed important to discuss, because EA is one of the biggest video game publishers, and once they're gone, I mean, who's left? Ubisoft is feeling like they're being broken up almost. Activision Blizzard's been acquired. I mean, I guess you could say Take-Two Interactive, which, mainly known for owning Rockstar, the developers of Grand Theft Auto. They also own the developers of the Borderlands series, the NBA 2K series, obviously Red Dead Redemption, which is also Rockstar, and a bunch of other smaller franchises. And some mobile stuff on top of it. But EA has definitely been one of the biggest publishers in video games, and been one of the oldest publishers in video games. I think Activision was the original third-party developer, releasing games for the Atari 2600 way back in the late 70s, maybe early 80s, something like that. EA is pretty old as well, one of the oldest in the gaming industry. So we'll see how things go. Maybe I'm wrong, and this is going to be good for EA, and EA will be able to expand. They're not going to do layoffs. I'm sure they will. I mean, if you've paid attention, there's been tens of thousands of people laid off in the video game industry alone over the last few years. And then obviously worldwide, and not just the video game industry, we've seen millions of layoffs in the last few years. Yeah, because the economy, feel like it's being held up by the AI bubble, so to speak. And if that bubble bursts, something's telling me it's going to be even worse than the dot-com bubble. Obviously, the internet is big. Didn't go anywhere. I'm sure AI is not going to go anywhere. But we're seeing hundreds of billions, maybe even trillions of dollars being invested into data centers for the AI. And if it doesn't take off, if they don't see ways to how it can actually make a profit in the future eventually, I mean, what are you going to do with AI? You're going to have ads when you search stuff with AI? I mean, I guess probably what's going to happen. Or people will pay for the things to be higher up when they search with AI or something. I don't even know how they're going to make money on that. But anyways, that's me going off on a tangent here. If you enjoy me going over this little bit of EA acquisition news here, reports, as well as other random tangents, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all next time for some more gaming news, gaming sales, and gaming industry information.